Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart for those of you that are new. And today I'll be breaking down this two-game NBA slate here for Tuesday night on DraftKings. We have the other two quarterfinal games for the NBA in-season tournament. So it should be two fantastic games. I can't wait to watch them. So make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll be going over some of my favorite plays, some early court plays, as well as breaking down both of these games. I apologize for not putting up a video for the past few days here. I was out of the country, wasn't able to play DraftKings at all, or really even load DraftKings up on my phone just because of internet issues. So I do apologize for that, but we are back for this Tuesday night slate here. Yeah, let's get right into it. So starting off here, let's take a quick look at the odds. As you can see, Pelicans and Kings game is still finishing up there, pretty close one going into the fourth quarter there. But for tomorrow, as you can see, the Knicks and Bucks 4.5 point spread, 225.5 game total, and then Suns Lakers 1.5 point spread, 227.5 game total. Going over the injury news here for tomorrow. At the top, AD is good to go, probable. LeBron does have that questionable tag, but he's yet to miss time here with that calf injury. So him and AD should both be good to go. Beal is still going to be out here for this game. So, the only real big news besides that for the Sun side is going to be Eric Gordon, if he's going to be good to go or not. As you can see, he's been doing pretty well recently in replace of Beal in the starting lineup. Below that, we have Hachimura, who is questionable, did not play the last game, but he should be good to go here for this game tomorrow. As well as, Gabe Vincent's still out, Crowder's out, Pat Connaughton is out, Vanderbilt is probable, so he should be good to go. He played 14 minutes in that last game. Probably expect 15 and 20 here for tomorrow. And then Andre Jackson Jr. is out as well, so could get a little bit of value here for the Bucks side. We'll get into that in a second. But hopping over to the next side here, we get Randall at 8.7, Brunson at 8.5. I think they're both fine plays if you land on them. I do think there'll be two of the more contrarian spin-ups on the slate. Randall is going to be the safer option compared to Brunson, who is scoring dependent at times. As you can see, he does have a pretty high ceiling, but you really need him to go off real life point wise. As you can see, he had 42 real life points, which really helps out. Otherwise, just a little bit too scoring dependent at times for me, but he is a pretty solid contrarian option to get to here at 8.5. They're both there. No real standouts for me. Moving to RJ Barrett, I do think I'd probably have more interest in RJ Barrett than I do the two spin ups on the Knicks side right now. RJ is more so, he's not doing the best DFS wise. As you can see, minutes weren't the best recently 28, 24, and 27. Kind of scoring dependent at times as well. And he's not the best of shooter, but still, I think he's a solid contrarian option. As you can see, he could get close to 40 fantasy points, if not a little bit more, if he's playing really well. So I do like him at that price tag there. It does have some interest for me. Mitchell Robinson, they should need him here. Just depends on foul trouble. But if he stays out of foul trouble, he does have upside to go for easily 30 plus here, even though he's not the best offensively. But just a lot of rebounds having to guard Giannis and Brook Lopez. So don't mind him as like a more so GPP contrarian option. Josh Hart here. Minutes have been taking up a little bit more recently. As you can see, 30 minutes or more in the past three. So I think he's a fine option at 5.3. Doesn't stand out too much. I'd rather get to quickly here, 5.2. Way more aggressive offensively. Minutes have not been the best recently for him, but still should hopefully see 20 plus minutes and has the ability to go easily for 40 plus. So I think it makes for a great risky GPP option there. Dante, 4.4K. If you're looking for some cheap value, he's done well the past two games. Obviously shot the ball very well from three. Obviously hard to expect that to continue, but still should see around 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more if he's playing well. He's more so of an okay value. If you think Mitchell Robinson gets in foul trouble, or maybe even Randall, they could look to Isaiah Hartenstein, who could push for 20 plus minutes if there is some foul trouble. Solid point per minute guy as well there. So he's a decent cheap option if you're looking for some value that's a little bit cheaper. Grimes playing around 20-ish minutes right now. Don't think you need to go there. And that is really it for the Knicks side. For the Bucks side here, I think it's a solid price tag for Giannis, 11.4. I like Dame still. He's been better recently, so I think they both look really solid here. I do think I'd slightly prefer getting to Dame there at his price tag, just because he's been a lot better recently with the assists, kind of helping out his upside there. So I do like Dame a good amount at 9.3. I think Brook Lopez is actually a pretty interesting option. His shooting attempts should drop down a little bit now that, Dame and Giannis are still there, both back and healthy. But it's one of those things where I think it was at the beginning of the season where he had a really good game against the Knicks. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, went for 38. Just because he can spread the floor. Mitchell Robinson, not that not the most mobile big man. So we get one of those where they you kind of put Brook Lopez at the top of the key in the corners to spread out the Knicks, and he could have a solid shooting night from three. So I don't mind him as a GPP option there at 6.4K. Not the best price tag, but still does have some upside there. Middleton, it looks like a pretty strong option. His minutes have been up recently. 29 was at like about a week and a half ago. Obviously 13 in the blowout. I think that's when he got injured, but 23, 27, 25. So it looks like he's close to 30 minutes and at 6K. I think that is viable. So once again, I'd say just check the news to see if he's on a minutes limit around 30. If he is, I still think you can definitely get to him at 6K there. Um, Beasley at 5.7. I mean, the minutes have been really high recently. He's not he's shooting the ball really well as well. I think he's an okay play. I don't love the price tag for a guy who's very, very score independent. I mean, they are short on value, but in terms of value, it really should just be Bobby Portis off the bench, Crowder, excuse me, campaign there, Beauchamp. So they'll run three guys off the bench. Maybe they'll dust off, AJ Green a little bit, but still, I don't think we have to go crazy with the value. Kind of just rely on the three guys I mentioned. So Beauchamp, he's already seen around 15-ish minutes for the season. Not the best point per minute guy, but with no Connaughton, no Crowder, he's going to be the main shooting guard, small forward off the bench. He's more defensive minded, but still, I'd say around 20-ish minutes for him. 3.4K, going to be one of the better, cheaper value options if you do need some value for this slate here tomorrow. So just throw him in there as a reminder for that. I think campaign, he should be in line to see at least 20 minutes here as being the kind of the second main guy there off the bench for them. 4.1K. We know he's a decent point per minute guy. Usually he was on the Spurs. Obviously, it's been a little bit different of a story here, playing alongside Dame and Giannis, but still, I think he's a very strong value option if you're looking for a cheap guard there as well. And as I mentioned, Bobby Portis, 5.6. They still have Giannis, they still have Brook Lopez, so they're not missing really many bigs here, but still, he should see, I'd say 22-ish or more minutes. Solid point per minute guy. So we're getting some strong GPP options with those three for some cheaper value plays. Moving on to Phoenix here. Devin Booker, Durant both look fantastic here. They just have huge ceilings. I know Devin Booker's been more so up and down recently compared to Durant in terms of his scoring output, but still both look like very, very strong plays here. I'd say Devin Booker has a little bit more of a ceiling just because of the assist upside there as being the main point guard, and he's done very well with the rebounds. So I slightly prefer Devin Booker, even though Durant's been a little bit better at scoring the ball. But they're both very strong plays. If you're looking for two really strong pay up options, they're both really, really good. At the top for the centers, obviously Nurkic here at 6.9K. As you can see, he does have huge upside if he can stay out of foul trouble. LA, they'll need his defense against Anthony Davis, so we should see 30 plus minutes out of him if he's out of foul trouble, which, as you can see, he ranges from anywhere from like 25 to 50 plus fantasy points. So don't love the price tag, but I still think he's a solid option that should see a lot of run here. Beal's obviously out. The big news here is Eric Gordon. If he's in, I think he's an okay play in the mid range. Don't love it. As you can see, another one of those guys, super score independent. Really comes down to if you can hit a shot. So at 5.9K, not my favorite play there. Allen could be in line to see some big minutes, maybe even more shots if there's no Gordon. So keep an eye out on that. I don't mind him as a contrarian option. If people are going to go to Eric Gordon for the slate, don't mind getting to Grayson Allen, who's a little bit more 3-point oriented, score independent there, but still does have some decent upside. Goodwin's been in the rotation heavily recently, as you guys can see, close to 20 minutes. So I still think there's a risk going to him, even though he's seen 20 minutes in the past 5 games. But still, if he's going to see 20 minutes, 4.9K, okay if you land on him. I'd much rather get to Allen and Gordon, whose minutes in production are way more secure than Goodwin, who's almost the same price tag. And he is, the riskier minutes. So I'd rather get to those guys than Goodwin there for me. Okogie off the bench, seen solid minutes recently. I think he's there. I think he's a fine play. I honestly rather get to him than Goodwin. Eubanks, 4.2K, kind of like Isaiah Hartenstein, should see around 20-ish minutes. Decent point per minute guy if you're looking for a cheap center option. Bates Diop, they do have a decent amount of these small forward, power forwards they can run out there. So he looks like another okay value play. Nasir Little, same thing. They're kind of running all these guys 15 to 20-ish minutes out there. So not a ton of interest in those guys for me. And then moving on to Lakers, absolutely love AD. Absolutely love LeBron. They both look like very, very strong plays here. D'Lo is going to be more so of a contrarian play in the mid-range. Has been better recently. Has some good upside. Don't love the price tag, but he should see a healthy amount of production. Reeves off the bench. I just don't love the minutes for his price tag there, 6.3K. It's like, why not pay up for a guy like D'Lo, who's a little bit safer? You can get a little bit riskier and go to a guy like RJ Barrett in the same kind of price tag range. So Reeves is just kind of there for me. Don't have a real strong take on him. Radis should be good to go. He should be in line to see mid 20s minutes, maybe in 30 plus if he's doing well. I think he's an okay option. I don't see a need to get to him. I'd rather get to cheaper value. So he's just there. Same thing with Prince. He should see decent minutes, but still very score independent. I think there's better options there. Rui, it's just the minutes, right? Like, is he going to see his normal minutes, which have kind of been around, 20 to 25 recently, depending on, there's some games where he had injuries, so he did a lot better and some blowouts, but still, I'd say around 20. I'd say to be safe, around 15 minutes for Rui. That's maybe what we can kind of expect. At the very minimum, I'd say 10, but maybe 15. Maybe if he pushes for 20, what to wait and see with that, that nose fracture. But yeah, I think it's an okay play there. I'd rather pay down for a guy like Bill Champ or Campaign. Um, and then moving down to Christie, he's been seeing minutes recently, doing better. 4.4K, just kind of there for me. That's really it. Christian Wood, not seeing a ton of minutes recently. So, and Vanderbilt. So if Vanderbilt does see 15 minutes, one of those guys who could get multiple steals. Like, he's not going to do a ton scoring. Could hit a couple threes. He's getting a little bit better at those. Could have a couple layups, but more so you're going to get defensive production out of him. So rebounds, assists, and hopefully a couple steals or blocks. So I don't mind taking a shot at him if you're looking for another very cheap, power forward center eligible player. He's a good option for tomorrow. Should be good to go there. So I actually do like him as a cheap value option. And that is really it for the slate tomorrow. So favorite spend ups right now for me are currently going to be Dame there at 9.3. And I do think you really want to get to one of Booker or KD. So I'm gonna throw Booker in there. I do think you could push with the value. You could definitely stretch out and try to go for three studs for this slate tomorrow. So if you wanted to get to um, another guy, possibly Giannis, possibly AD, we could throw KD in there. Still 4.8K, so enough to kind of have a viable lineup here. So I don't mind going with the stars and scrubs, going with three stars for the slate tomorrow. But in terms of like core plays, I don't see it. I'd say core plays right now would be Devin Booker, Dame. I'd say just those two for right now. In terms of the value, I still think Campaign's a very, very strong play for tomorrow. Same thing at Vanderbilt, obviously very risky, but a strong value option at 3.5K. We should see hopefully 15 minutes, even though he's not the best offensively. Should be able to make up for it defensively. And obviously, as you can see, we can fit three studs in this for the slate tomorrow. So balance build is going to be a little bit more contrarian for this slate tomorrow. Beauchamp, another very strong play with no Crowder and no Connaughton. So those are kind of my early look thoughts for tomorrow. Obviously, we do have some injury news we kind of have to wait for, so make sure that like button. Check out the injury news before the slate starts, and let's have a great day tomorrow. See you guys.